Um, Simone de Beauvoir, she was born in 1908 and she died in 1986. Just gonna get through a like kind of brief overview of her. Um, she had a passion for philosophy, but it would go much, much deeper than that. Um, Her passion to explore the physical world would lead her to discovering a radical new philosophy. She was widely known as a feminist philosopher of her time. And I'll take you through a quick run through of kind of like how she got there. Um, a lot of her views were very controversial at that time. I feel like that was, she had a whole new way of thinking that I think kind of like challenged a lot of the way that things were during the 1900s when she was around. And I think that's what made her so interesting to me and why I chose her. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you like a brief overview. She really explored her desires of free will, rights, and responsibilities. Personal experience was an important concept for her. Simone helped with a proposal for a whole new way of thinking at that time. And she stated that humans are born free and are put on this world with no divine plan, which I found to be super interesting. Um, Kind of a whole new concept. So she stated that this freedom was a both a blessing and a burden. And she makes it a point to state that we are in charge of creating our own life's meaning and to accept and acknowledge that other individuals have the right to do the same. And I personally feel like I could relate to this a lot more than a lot of the other stuff that I've read throughout the semesters. I feel like her ideal way of thinking was just completely different. She came out as bisexual, so she was open with her sexuality. Um, she really challenged the ideas of how women were looked at during that time. So it was like a time where like women were like the homemakers and they didn't have a lot of rights and like the men were more in charge. So she really like challenged that whole perception of that idea, and I really um, liked really took a liking to that. So as Simone explored her purpose in life, she felt it was a great challenge to accept the everyday life of a woman at that time. She was seeing women treated as lesser than men, and she didn't want to accept that, and she wanted to truly challenge that. Of course, she wasn't following in these idealistic womanhood roles at that time, and men weren't really taking her seriously. So she she kind of was hoping for more, but the men weren't taking her seriously. But she still like was very determined and like pushed through and stuck through with what she believed in. She wrote a lot of books and a lot of memoirs, and she turned away from religion and she came out as a bisexual woman and she had an open relationship. She was really just exploring her authentic self, and although it was not entirely acceptable at the time, she continued to pursue in that direction because that's what she felt passionately about. So that's also kind of something that I admired a lot. So she she was challenging these roles, and although it was kind of like frowned upon, I feel like it really opened the door to a lot of other women and created just like this whole new way of thinking, and it was very like radical at the time. So I feel like that's like super important and just like a really cool different concept for sure. In 1949, she came out with a piece called The Second Sex, and she states that gender is not predestined. She felt that women were taking on these lesser roles and weren't being given credit like they should be. She wanted equality. She felt like they weren't given the freedom that she knew women deserved, so she really, excuse me, so she really at that time took on this feminist role. The Second Sex showed Simone's personal experience in exploring the world authentically, and it dove deep into discussing feminist theories. Although her work was controversial, she was truly there to explore the ideas of feminism and her authentic self, and I think that's what makes her such a great philosopher. And she had these published pieces, and reading up about her and like giving a quick overview, it was like really cool to see like how different that was at that time. So yeah, thank you.